Hoka Mafate Speed 4. What's it like? Let's have a talk about it and compare it with the Speed 3. I do love a Hoka. So today we're going to talk about the Mafate Speed 4. Here it is. Give you a proper look round. Look at that. And we're going to compare it with, hold on, a Mafate Speed 3. So, have they spoiled the secret sauce? What have they changed? What's the same? Let's get into it. So first, hi, if you're new, I'm Simon. I do weekly running videos. Usually it's a running route. If you're desperate now for a running route, well, first to say, next week I'm out at Oldley Edge, so don't miss that one. And if you can't wait, if you're desperate for a running video right now, head on over to Patreon. From £2 a month. There's a load of video stuff out there that you've not seen if you're just watching on YouTube. So go check it out. Anyway, Mafate Speed 4. What's it all about? Who's it for? Okay, so let's start with who's it for. Okay, well, Hokas are designed for, they come from an ultra running background. They were originally designed for ultra runners, people who want to run a long way, marathon plus distance. And they provide maximum cushioning, and this traditionally have this stiff rocker action that help you through your stride, and just designed for people who want to run a long way. Now, the Hoka brand, they have diversified these days, and they offer all different levels of cushioning and shoes that are flexible, but these are more like the original idea that they had, and they suit ultra runners, people who want to run across the Alps, hundreds of miles. Are they any good for that? Couldn't tell you, because that's not who I am. But if you watch the professional elite athletes, that's a lot of them are wearing Hokas. But who else benefits from a shoe like this? Well, it's a maximum cushioning shoe, and so it really suits an injured runner, for instance. So for instance, I put these on 3 weeks ago now, when I was injured. The tendon that runs across the top of your foot up into your ankle was inflamed, and I could hardly put my foot down on the ground. I put these on, quite painful to put them on, but once I got them on, I could walk around fairly pain-free, and I kept them on day and night pretty much to allow my foot to heal. So they're just great. They provide just so much support. So if you've got a niggle and you're just starting to get back into running, you might want to look at these. Very, very comfortable shoe. They also suit people who've got biomechanical issues. So for me, for instance, I've got low arches, and so if I run a long way, my feet flatten out and I get pains across the bottom of my foot. Also, I'm prone to tendinitis in the long bones in my foot. Also, coming probably from the low arch, I can end up with a tight calf and a really tight Achilles. So all of those things just go away if I wear one of these, because it cushions the arch of my foot, and it's got this really good ankle support for my ankle and my Achilles. They're just good shoes. So it's good for people who've got some sort of issue. So if you've got flat feet, if you've get tendonitis in your feet, if you get Achilles pain, tight calves, you might find these really good for you. I certainly do. Also, because they're just so cushioned, they're gonna take the fatigue off you. Well, when if you go for a long run, you know, like you come back and your legs ache and you know everything hurts. It reduces that because they've just got so much cushioning. And for a similar reason, they're great for an older runner. So I'm in my 50s now, and I really want to be still running when I'm, what, 75? I'm not a fast runner, and but it's not about speed for me. For me, it's about adventure. It's adventure running. It's being able to get out into the countryside and go and explore new places. That's what I run for. And these help make it happen. And hopefully will continue help making it happen into my senior years. So yeah, that's who it's for. An extra person it might be for. You might be going, I'm not a runner, I'm a walk. I love watching your videos because you go and show me great places to go for a walk. Well, you could walk in these. You could walk on any terrain you fancied in these all day long and never have sore feet ever again. Go and try a pair on. If you're new to... So first, I bought these with my own money. I like Hokas. So just obviously I want to like this new shoe. But I'm going to tell you what's good and bad about it for sure. But, you know, I do like Hokas. So if you like Hokas, this review is probably going to help you. If you've never tried a Hoka on, go and try one on. You may well find it's a revelation, because it certainly was for me. Right, so what are the key features of this shoe? It's a trail shoe. It's maximal cushioning. Look at that. I mean, you might be looking at that going, good grief, I can't possibly... it's like platform shoes, but you do actually, it's like a bucket seat. You sit inside it in a bucket, which is they're really comfortable to wear. They give you, it's got a soft feel to it. So when you actually, when you walk or run in them, you sink into them a little bit with every time you put your foot down. It's not hard, so it softens the foot, and it's got this huge amount of cushioning. And because it's like a bucket seat, it gives you stability as well. So in running shoes in the past, I used to look for a motion control, for some sort of, because another biomechanical issue I've got is I've got one leg longer than the other. I broke a leg when I was a kid, and I was in traction for 6 weeks, and now I've got one leg which is about that much longer than the other, and that causes an imbalance in the hips, and one foot tends to pronate. And in order to correct that, I was wearing motion control shoes. With these, I find I don't need them at all, because I sink into it. I guess you move around it inside the shoe. I just don't need them anymore, which is great. Yeah, so anyway, back to it. Lots and lots and lots of cushioning, lots and lots and lots of support. It's got the key feature is this rocker design. It's stiff, and so it's designed to guide you through your motion as you run. And that's a Marmite thing. It's a love it or hate it. Personally, I love it. It's great for me because it means I don't get those pains in my feet. Hoka do other shoes which don't have that in. If you like a flexible shoe, if you want something that, you know, you like to, you know, like a really flexible shoe, but that's not what these are. Okay, It's also, another feature is it's a wide-ish shoe. So this is a D-fitting shoe. Now, I've not got a massively wide foot. Now, in a normal shoe, I'd wear a UK size 9. And in a running shoe, typically in the past, I would wear a 9.5. But in a Hoka, I wear a 10. And in some of the other styles, I would get my little toe rubbing. Some of the styles have quite a narrow toe box, and I would have rubbing on here. But these ones are quite forgiving, quite wide. If you have got a wide foot, I'd suggest going looking at a Hoka Speed Goat, because they do them in a wide fitting. Right, I guess the other key feature of these shoes is look at the lugs. Just look at that. It's huge amounts of grip, absolutely, for any surface. So I wear them. So okay, so a lot of running shoes, trail shoes, if you wear them on the road, because you've got less contact area, they feel like you're wearing rugby boots. But I don't get that in these. I can run on the road, I can run on the trail, I can run across fields, gravel, sand. I can run on anything, which is great. Yeah, these are my go-to shoe, to be honest with you. Okay, so what has stayed the same? What's the same and what's different? So what's the same? Well, it's basically they're built on the same last. These things are effectively, it's the same shoe, they've just changed up the materials a bit. The cushioning and the support, as far as I can tell, are exactly the same between the 3 and the 4. They haven't changed it at all. And please, 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 Hoka, if you're listening, don't. They're the most comfortable shoes I've ever worn. And so please don't change them. It's always the worry that they're going to bring out the new shoes and they're going to improve it. And by improving it, they break it. But so far, so good. They haven't changed that. The rocker action's also exactly the same. They're about the same weight. I mean, so I got the 3s I weighed in this pair at 323 grams, and these, which have been worn a bit, so they've got a little bit of mud on them, weighed in at 327. So, you know, as good as anything, the same weight. What else is the same? Let's see. Yeah, so the cushioning's the same. The heel's the same. They've got this built-up heel that's very comfortable and cushioned to support your heel and your Achilles. That's the same. What's changed? Well, couple of things really. The first being the material, and that's good and bad. Okay, so the good, it's bulletproof. It's really a strong. So if we go back to the Speed 3, they moved to this really light mesh. Now that, and also a really thin tongue, but with 2 pads either side. And the effect was a shoe that felt like just an extension of your foot. The lockdown was so good, you were completely locked into it. Really, really comfortable. The concern was that the material looked a lot thinner, and was it going to break down? Now, so in some of the cheaper Hoka shoes in the past, I've experienced breakdown. So I started with a Challenger, and I used to find that they used to harden out, the cushioning used to harden out after about 300 miles, but also the uppers would break down. By 400 miles, I'd have multiple holes in them, you know, sandals. And then I tried these, and no breakdown whatsoever in the Speed 2 at all. And I thought, wow. And they didn't flatten out either. So although they're a little bit more expensive, it was worth it, definitely worth it, because they lasted a lot longer. So yes, the material has changed. So they went to that light material for the 3, and then they've moved back to a thicker material on the 4. So I did manage to make, I no longer have, I did review last year the 3s. I'm afraid those shoes have now gone to Hoka shoe heaven. But I did manage to make one small hole in them after 500 or 600 miles. But they were fine. You know, nothing like my experience in a Clifton or a Challenger. But clearly some people have, I'm guessing, because they've made the material, this thicker material. It has got the same, that very thin material still in the middle. They do drain well. I've run through water with these. They dry quickly. There's no problem. So the upper's different, which is, it's going to make them more durable. However, without that very thin material, the lockdown, they've also made the tongue thicker, and without those two things, the lockdown is just not quite as good as the previous one. So if you love the lockdown of the previous one and you want to save a few quid, perhaps buy the old one rather than the new. I don't know. The other thing that they've changed is the bottom. So both of these shoes have got Vibram, what's it called? Vibram Mega Grip. It's quite clever actually, is that they've lots of open space and only put in the grip where it needs to be to keep it light. But it's got these massive lugs. They're like 0.5 centimetre deep. But the new one has a completely separate, different pattern to the old one. So if you can see a couple of things. Well, one, just the shape of them is different, the lugs. But also on the new one, they've put, sorry, you're looking at my nose, aren't you? I've got these little knobbles on, which potentially going to give more grip. So a different pattern, these little knobbles. The other thing is, I don't know, but I think they've changed the rubber. I think they've used a softer rubber. You can hear it sometimes. It's not unpleasant, but when you run on the road, how can I explain it? It's like suckers on the bottom of your feet. It's like you've got an octopus with sucking on the bottom of your foot, and you can feel it. And if you walk, so like here in the kitchen, you can hear it. So it's a sticky rubber. It doesn't do that with the old ones. Now, I suspect where that will come in useful is in the wet rock, you know, stream crossing, up mountains, the more extreme stuff. Same with these little, I'd had no problem with the grip on any surface in the old ones. I've run on, you know, deep mud, grass, sand, gravel, mountains. I've been all over the place in them, never had a problem. But these, I think these, you know, if someone parachuted you in on the side of an Alp, you probably need that sort of level of extreme to get everything out of them. So anyway, the bottom's changed. Okay, we covered everything here. I think so. So let's go and take them out for a test drive. I love these shoes. Here I am running down the road with my octopuses strapped to the bottom of my feet, sucking away at the road. Not a problem though. I've run a 10k in these the other week. And look, they look great too. Sorry about the legs, they're not quite so good. Let's head out now and take these where they really want to be, out on the trail. So anything you throw at them, again, you just get this really soft underfoot and huge amounts of cushioning and stable, even on uneven surfaces. Great on the grass. They're really grippy on the grass, and of course, once you hit a bit of mud, they're in their element. Took a bit of finding actually mud at this time of year after all this hot weather. Gravel, loose gravel, and grabs really well, and loose earth, it's no problem. It doesn't matter what you throw at it, it's even happy in the dark. Heading across the fields now. It's a lovely time of year. And here's a stream crossing, so I'm not the most stable of people. I trip over at the drop of a hat, but really sticky and gives me confidence to take stuff at speed. Okay, in summary, have they spoilt the secret sauce? No. They are incredibly comfortable shoes. They are good on any surface. I guess it comes down to, well, one, cost. If you buy the old ones, you'll probably be able to get them, what, 30 or 40 pounds cheaper. And there's not a massive difference between the two. If the lockdown is more important to you, save the money. If the extra stickiness of the sole, and particularly going over, rocky terrain, crossing streams, that sort of thing, if that is important to you, then the new ones are probably the way to go. I will buy whichever ones are the best price. I think they're both fantastic shoes for just my everyday running shoe. Anyway, I hope you found that interesting, and I'll see you next week, and I'll have them on and we'll go and have a run adventure. Take care, folks. See you next time.